Hello, 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 and welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you about neurodivergence. Okay, so if you're a woman, ADHD, autistic, and perimenopause has hit you like a freight train and you didn't see it coming, you're here with us, ladies. You're here with us. Um, and you are a different breed. We, right? I included, am a different breed. And I think it's very important that we talk about that. Okay, because our brain, all women's brains in perimenopause is going through a transition. But the neurodivergent brain is very, very special. Okay. And completely understudied and misunderstood. And so today I want to break down why neurodivergent women get hit harder in perimenopause. I want to talk to you about how the science explains what we're living and what we're feeling. And when we're able to describe that and say that, things tend to be a little bit easier. And we can execute these precision guided missile treatments to really help us optimize, right? So, if you've suddenly developed anxiety, rage, exhaustion, sensory overload, brain fog, your executive function has left the building, this is for you, right? So neurodivergent brains are wired differently. This is not an opinion, okay? This is not just me saying this. This is neuroscience, all right? Before perimenopause ever shows up, right? Neurodivergent brains are already running on a tighter chemistry. They're a different chemistry. The ADHD brain, for example, runs on lower dopamine and norepinephrine signal strength. We have prefrontal cortex circuits that work harder for basic tasks. Remember, the prefrontal cortex is our CEO of our brain. We need more stimulation to feel awake and to feel motivated. And that's probably because it goes back to that we're running on lower dopamine signals, right? And this is why ADHD feels like, why can't I start anything? Or I start it and I can't finish it. Motivation kind of feels optional, right? Why do I forget things I was literally doing, right? And this is based on neuroscience. So the autistic brain has a different balance of GABA, which is our calm, and glutamate, which is our excitatory neurotransmitter. We feel sensory input more intensely. And the autistic brain relies heavily on predictability and routine. Okay. This is why sometimes they'll say, I can't handle noise right now, right? I can't handle this sensory overload. Getting touched feels painful or obnoxious, right? I need a routine or I'm going to melt down, right? These differences don't make us broken, right? They just make us different. And our brain has adapted beautifully. We are perfect the way we are. However, we have to understand where we are, what baseline neurochemical defects we have, so that when our hormones do start to shift, we understand that. And perimenopause isn't a gentle decline in hormones. It's a roller coaster. Like, think of perimenopause as a roller coaster with no lap belt to hold you in or no safety belt. It's crazy. It's throwing us all over the place. Up, down, in, out, upside down, twisting, backwards, forwards, the whole thing. So one of the important things is to know what the players are: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, right? Estrogen, she's the queen. She helps us with dopamine and serotonin. She is the body's natural antidepressant. Progesterone helps with our GABA, it's our calm regulator. And testosterone helps with our motivation, strength, our spark. The testosterone works a lot in the prefrontal cortex. So if you think about the neurodivergent brain that we just talked about and how we already have a baseline dysfunction in dopamine and issues with GABA and also in that prefrontal cortex and glutamate, you can see why when these hormones start to go berserk, our brains can go berserk, right? I mean, that's what I feel. Um, and so this is actually science, right? And why neurodivergent brains do get hit harder. Let me tell you this, even women that do not have neurodivergence get hit hard in perimenopause, okay? The roller coaster is a wild ride for everybody, but our brains are just a little bit different and we get hit maybe a little bit harder, okay? So As estrogen drops and becomes more chaotic, right? What happens? That dopamine drops also. We get into a dopaminergic crisis. Estrogen literally boosts dopamine in the prefrontal cortex. And remember, that's the part that is our CEO of our brain. That's it handles our planning, our motivation, our emotional regulation. Basically, everything neurodivergent women work extra hard to manage, right? The things that we have to work really hard to get at baseline because we already have a little bit of a baseline issue with dopamine. So now when estrogen is becoming erratic, that intensifies that. So when estrogen drops, dopamine drops, your focus drops, your patience drop, your inability to function drops, right? And this is why we'll see in neurodivergent women say, like, all of a sudden, I swear my ADHD is worse overnight. My meds don't work the same. I feel like I need different amounts of meds depending on my cycle. I can't get anything started. I can't finish anything. This is all due to those neurochemical imbalances within when we start to lose estrogen and estrogen starts to become chaotic. Progesterone boosts GABA. It's our Netflix and chill. It's the calm neurotransmitter. And when progesterone gets low, neurodivergent women lose the buffer. So this looks at like rage, irritability, right? Irritability out of nowhere. Like you're doing something and then it's like, and then you're like, oh my gosh, why did that just irritate me? Panic, right? There's a lot of sense of panic, sensory intolerances, emotional outbursts. I hear a lot of women say, I don't like I lose a filter. Like I'm just raw. Like it just comes out, right? Also when progesterone gets affected, sleep starts to get affected. And when sleep starts to get affected, it's a nightmare even more, right? Because sleep is where we rest. Sleep is where our bodies are able to rest and restore. And basically it kind of takes the brakes off, right? Sensory overload and overwhelm skyrockets. So for autistic and ADHD who already run hot, that's what I like to say. We run hot on sensory input. Perimenopause adds internal noise. So not only is it affecting what's going on in the brain from a neurochemistry standpoint, but now we have hot flashes, palpitations, night sweats, anxiety, spikes. We don't our sleep goes down, right? So our inside world gets loud and the outside world is like just crazy and we can't really filter it. And that prefrontal cortex is so important. Our executive functioning kind of collapses, right? Because estrogen supports those dopamine circuits, testosterone supports the prefrontal cortex. And we're losing that scaffolding that's helping us, right? So we can lose our train of thought mid-sentence, walk into a room and forget why, feeling paralyzed starting tasks. Like you look at your to-do list and you're like, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. There's so many things. I don't even know what to do, right? Forgetting appointments, feeling like you're failing at basic life. It's not a personality flaw, it's chemical instability, okay? And understanding our neurodivergence and understanding why we may feel things, and I don't even want to say worse than others, just why we feel the things we feel, right? Is so enlightening because it allows us to send out those precision guided missiles and try to fix those things or optimize those things. Okay. And why, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about why traditional medicine misses this. It misses neurodivergent women in general for the most part, right? All our whole lives, right? It's been missed. And we go neurodivergent women go undiagnosed for a long periods of time. It's just stress, you're depressed, there's anxiety, it's IBS, all of those things. If we're lucky enough though to be diagnosed and be treated for our neurodivergence, then a lot of times clinicians don't understand what happens to the neurodivergent brain during perimenopause and how this neurochemistry interaction and instability and lability really can affect the brain, right? And so, what can help us, right? What can help us in perimenopause? So getting the hormones optimized is extremely helpful because we're fixing the deficit, right? So if we're losing estrogen or estrogen is becoming chaotic, that's decreasing dopamine, which is how which our prefrontal cortex needs, our brain needs, we need more serotonin, then giving us back estrogen, right? Or supporting that estrogen through the highs and the lows, we can help optimize those things. The same thing with progesterone, the same thing with testosterone, right? As it's stabilizing, it's working in that prefrontal cortex. So definitely, hormonal therapy is one thing, one tool that when done right can significantly help us. Is it for everyone? No. Those are the things we talk about. It's a very personalized care. We can support the nervous system and we can do this very easily. And I would say if we're anybody in the world should be supporting their nervous system, whether we're neurodivergent or not, but especially neurodivergent. So magnesium, omega-3s, L-theanine, vagus nerve work, taking ourself out of the sympathetic. This is so powerful, and it's literally within us to do a 4x4 breath in for four, hold for four, exhale for four, repeat for four. You can do that 3 times a day. Take your body out of fight or flight and put it into parasympathetic, and you are helping yourself. It is a tool within you. You do not need a doctor, you do not need a medicine. It is something that we can use and it's readily available. Okay. Nervous system support, helping us get predictable routines. The neurodivergent brain runs hot. We need mitochondrial support. Mitochondria make all of the energy in the body, okay? And everybody should be on mitochondrial support, but especially neurodivergent brain. CoQ10, creatine, the appropriate amount of protein, light therapy, red light therapy. Sometimes we use low dose naltrexone. A lot of times we use methylene blue, right? These are all mitochondrial support to help those mitochondria make more energy. Remember, we're most mitochondrial dense in the ovary and in the brain. Okay, so just even optimizing the mitochondria by 10% is pretty darn significant. Okay, and then some lifestyle things, helping us make fewer decisions. Why do hybrid CEOs that are running multiple 7, 8, whatever figure companies wear the same color shirt and pants every day? They need to make fewer decisions because you need to save that capacity to make the bigger decisions that you're making throughout the day, right? That's why they wear black every day or they wear the same brown shirt or whatever because they don't want to make another decision that's not an integral part of their day. Okay. So, meal structure, same thing with that. Obviously, sleep prioritization, right? You don't need to be a new person. You need a new strategy matched to your brain and your biology, to this transition of your brain biology. Okay. So, listen, there is help. We can do this. The first thing lies in just understanding why our bodies are doing what they're doing and why we're feeling the symptoms that we're feeling. Okay. And like I said, in hormone optimization, in mitochondrial optimization, and lifestyle, and basic nutrient value, we can do a significant amount of help to ourselves and to optimize our body and to understand what's going on. We're not broken, we're not crazy, right? Our brain is literally reacting exactly the way science says it will. Okay, this is predictable and it's physiologic, and we understand what's going on. And now we just need to give ourselves back and stabilize and optimize those systems that are a little bit out of whack as our brain is transitioning, and we need to help it with that gentle transition. Okay. So we can do this, ladies. It is not as hard as it seems. And understanding is the first piece of the puzzle. Understanding that our brains do operate differently, and that is okay. That is what makes us us, and that's what makes us perfect. Okay. So listen, if you know someone that needs to hear this, please like, share, subscribe. Please tell all your friends, send this to them. And if you live in Florida, New York, Texas, or Michigan and you would like a consult, please reach out, and we would get a free discovery call and talk about helping you. But just spread the word, talk about it, help us make our neurodivergent brains okay, right? And normal, right? And normalize it and normalize the talking of it, because as women, we tend to not talk about things. We tend to go internally, right? And we don't want to say the things because we're embarrassed or society says we're weird or we're different. We're none of those things. We are perfect. We are perfect the way that we are. Our brains are doing what we know they're doing scientifically and neurochemically, and we just need to support them. Okay. So please subscribe and share if this is valuable to you. It helps us get the word out in my mission to help as many women as possible. And until next time, okay, stay well.